शुरुआत होने जा रही है। महात्मा गांधी की प्रतिमा की मौजूदगी वहां पर दिखाई पड़ रही है और वहां पर महात्मा
के साथ ही इस
पुष्पांजलि उन्होंने एक तरीके से की है। उस कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत होने जा रही है। ये भी अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी बात है। लेकिन जिस बात का जिक्र हम और हमारे तमाम मेहमान कर रहे थे कि भारत और भारतीयता के जो विचार है उसको आगे रखने में महात्मा गांधी किस तरीके से भारतीयता को आगे दुनिया के मंच तक लेकर गए हैं और उनकी प्रतिमा की मौजूदगी, उस पर पुष्पांजलि देना, कार्यांजलि से पहले पुष्पांजलि, ये भी दिखाता है कि किस तरीके से भारत और भारतीयता का
बिल्कुल भारत गांधी जी से हमेशा प्रेरणा पाता रहा है और ऐसे किसी बड़े मौके पर प्रधानमंत्री उनको श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करना नहीं भूले हैं। इस बड़े इवेंट के लिए प्रधानमंत्री की मौजूदगी पहुंच चुकी है और प्रधानमंत्री का स्वागत किसी हीरो की तरह होता है। ये हम सब के लिए एक बड़ा
यहाँ भी हमको
रेड कार्पेट दिखाई पड़ रहा है और हम सब के लिए, हम भारतीयों के लिए तो बहुत बड़ा दिन ये कहा जाएगा, बहुत गौरव का दिन कहा जाएगा। और ये जो इतनी बड़ी संख्या में आप देख सकते हैं।
I appreciate your cooperation. Thank you for continuing to stay in your spot and be seated. We will start the program very shortly. And again, if you need any assistance whatsoever, we have our volunteers standing by to help. They're wearing their yellow caps so that you may identify them easily. You can see many sculptures that we have here on the North Lawn. But today, the Gandhi Ji statue is one that is so dear to many of us here. The principles that he holds and the concept of ahimsa is one that many of us are very familiar with, that many world leaders are embodying, and we see this as we look around to many people who aim to be the change that they want to see in the world. Excellencies, distinguished participants, yoga masters, brothers and sisters, all of those watching on web TV and joining us today, namaste. A very warm welcome to everyone. Happy International Day of Yoga 2023. This is the time that we've all been waiting for. The time has come for me to share how much we're deeply honored. We're so privileged to have with us today none other than the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. a distinguished world leader, and an ardent yoga practitioner. I'd like to remind everyone that it is Prime Minister Modi ji himself back in December 2014 who introduced the idea of establishing World Yoga Day to the UN General Assembly. A record number of 175 member states recognized yoga's universal appeal and adopted the landmark resolution proclaiming June 21 as International Yoga Day, the day of the summer solstice here in the north. So every 21 of June is World Yoga Day. This day provides people everywhere across the globe, all of us and everyone watching, an opportunity to reflect upon the countless benefits of practicing yoga. Indeed, an invaluable gift in the world from India's ancient tradition. We thank the Honorable Prime Minister of India for this notable initiative, which is now celebrated worldwide with enthusiasm and vigor. I will now begin the official part of today's event by requesting Ambassador Ruchira Kamboj, India's permanent representative to the United Nations, to the stage to deliver her opening remarks.
Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Mr. President of the General Assembly, Madam Deputy Secretary General, Mr. Mayor, distinguished ambassadors, distinguished guests, and all my dear friends and colleagues from this wonderful audience. Today's celebration is indeed very, very special. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lead us in doing yoga here at the United Nations lawns. To put matters in perspective, it was under his leadership and under his guidance that 21st June was declared as International Yoga Day, and it is only fitting, therefore, that the inspiration behind the idea is with us today in this scenic, multicultural setting of the United Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly beautiful to see so many around the world gather in solidarity for yoga. It is not living with the burden of weight or the lightness of oblivion. It is a choice made with balance, an idiosyncratic beauty, timeless throughout the progress of humanity. Yoga has endured. It is truth beyond articulation, wisdom beyond time. I hope all of you will cherish 21st June this year and hold it close to your hearts, today and forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Kamboj, for your remarks. It's my turn now to invite the Honorable President of the UN General Assembly, Mr. Chaba Karoshi, for the stage.
Honorable Prime Minister, Madam Deputy Secretary General, Mr. Mayor, Madam Ambassador, dear friends, Namaste. Yoga is a way of uniting mind and body, and also the environment and us. The most memorable university lectures I attended as a student many years ago were on cultural traditions of ancient Eastern civilizations. They helped me understand that we are part of nature, despite regarding ourselves as aristocratically detached from other creatures. I also learned that the energies in the universe and inside us abide by the same law. a desire to achieve balance. Yoga changes our physical performance. But more importantly, it can spark in us different mental and intellectual performance. With the control that it teaches over ourselves, we learn how to make change and impact. Since that university lecture, I've been an admirer of yoga. I'm very proud of my daughter, who has already reached a high level of practice and is continuing her journey. Thanks to her, I understand better yoga's ethical guide. The guide, which includes the principle of non-stealing, non-greed, non-hoarding, and non-violence. In other words, yoga's ethical guide to living is a guide to sustainability, not overusing resources that belong to all of us, not prioritizing short-term gains over planetary boundaries, and working for transformation. Our world needs balance, self-control, and creativity, just as it needs recognition of moral responsibilities and cherishing peace and justice. There are many ways to approach these aims. Yoga is one of the means, for which I have a special respect. I'm happy to be here with all of you today, but let me apologize in advance. I am not a yoga practitioner, and the positions which you will show might look very different from what I end up doing. Still, I'm here with an open heart and open mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Karoshi, for highlighting the transformative power of yoga and in such a very personal way. At this time, I would now ask that Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor of the city of New York, please take the stage.
To Prime Minister Modi, to President of the General Assembly, to Deputy Secretary General, to Your Excellencies, to the Ambassador, to all of you, do not miss the significance of this moment. New York City is the largest and most important city in America. As I stand before you as the mayor of that city, I share with you in a clear and a universal tone that we are no longer focused solely on the physical body, but the anatomy of our spirit. For far too long, we have separated what our needs are emotionally, spiritually, and physically. We are going to go to the root causes of that which troubles many of us, from how we interact, to the food we eat, to allowing our children to have breathing exercises in the morning as they start their school day, to challenge the mental health issues that's impacting us. But there's a larger challenge for all of us. What we do on the mat and practicing yoga must become what we do on the streets and in our countries. We cannot become universally connected through the yellow mats we lay on, but disconnected as we move through our communities. Use the spirit and emotions of yoga to challenge and fight against war, to fight against gender oppression, to fight against violence, to fight against the lack of clean water, to fight against the food insecurity, to fight against the destruction of our planet. Our connectivity is not only how we're connected to our families and our parents. We have two mothers. One gave birth to us and one sustains us. Yoga keeps us connected to both mothers and connected to each other. This International Yoga Day is an international call for us to stand up for humankind across the globe and all living beings. I'm proud to be here, and I'm proud to symbolically represent this city. As stated, the International Yoga Day is an international call that we will be a leader here in New York City, as you are a leader in your own environments. Thank you for allowing me to rejoice with you today.
Thank you, Mayor Adams, for spotlighting how yoga is integral to the anatomy of one's spirit. We appreciate that perspective and input. I'd like now to go to the video message of the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who is not available to be with us in person, but is here in spirit. Please let us go to the videotape.
Happy International Day of Yoga. I want to recognize Prime Minister Modi for all he has done to promote understanding of yoga and its many benefits. Yoga unites. It unites body and mind, humanity and nature, and millions of people across the globe for whom it is a source of strength, harmony and peace. In a dangerous and divided world, the benefits of this ancient practice are particularly precious. Yoga offers a haven of calm. It can reduce anxiety and promote mental well-being. It helps us to develop discipline and patience. It connects us to our planet, which so badly needs our protection. And it reveals our common humanity, helping us to understand that despite our differences, we are one. On this International Day of Yoga, let us embrace the spirit of unity and resolve to build a better, more harmonious world for people, planet, and ourselves.
Friends, it is one of the deepest honors and privileges of my life to extend a heartfelt welcome. A heartfelt welcome and an invitation to no one else but the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Modi ji. I ask that on this auspicious occasion that he join us and that he address us with his remarks. Let us give him a very, very warm welcome.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Chaba Koroshi, President of UN General Assembly, Her Excellency Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the Union, His Excellency Eric Adams, Mayor of New York, and my dear friends from all over the world. Namaskar. Friends, on this fine morning, we are gathered here at the United Nations, at the meeting point of entire humanity. In this wonderful city of New York, I know many of you have come here from far away. Most of you have woken up before sunrise and made the effort to come here. I am delighted to see you all, and I thank you all for coming. Friends, I am told that almost every nationality is represented here today. And what an amazing cause to bring us all together yoga. Yoga means to unite. So your coming together is an expression of another form of yoga. I remember about 9 years ago, right here at the UN, I had the honor to propose celebrating the International Day of Yoga on 21st June. It was wonderful to see the entire world come together to support the idea back then. I just paid respect to the brave UN peacekeepers. In 2015, I had called for a new memorial to be built at the UN in their memory. And last week, the whole world joined hands with India to make this reality soon. As the largest troop contributing nation, we are grateful to all nations for their expression of support to this noble cause. Last year, the entire world came together to support India's proposal to celebrate 2023 as the International Year of Millets. Millets are a superfood. They promote holistic health and are good for environment too. And today, it is wonderful to see the entire world come together again for yoga. Friends, yoga comes from India, and it is a very old tradition. But like all ancient Indian traditions, it is also living and dynamic. Yoga is free from copyright, free from patents, and free from royalty payments. Yoga is adaptable to your age, gender, and fitness level. Yoga is portable. You can do it at home or at work or in transit. Yoga is flexible. You can practice it alone or in a group, learn from a teacher, or be self-taught. Yoga is unifying. It is for everyone, for all ethnicities, for all faiths, and for all cultures. Yoga is truly universal. Friends, when we do yoga, we feel physically fit, mentally calm, and emotionally content. But it is not just about doing exercise on a mat. Yoga is a way of life, a holistic approach to health and well-being, a way to mindfulness in thoughts and actions, a way to live in harmony with self, with others, and with nature. I am delighted that many of you are working on scientifically validating different aspects of yoga. Indeed, this is the way. Friends, I know you are all keen to get started, well, so am I. I want to thank the United Nations for hosting us here today. I am grateful to the Mayor and the City of New York for all their help and support in making this event success. And most of all, want to thank you all once again for being here today. Let us use the power of yoga not only to be healthy, happy, but also to be kind to ourselves and to each others. Let us use the power of yoga to build bridges of friendship, a peaceful world, and a cleaner, greener, and sustainable future. Let us join hands together to realize the goal of one earth, one family, one future. I conclude with a wish. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya. May everyone be happy. May everyone be healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Modi ji, for conveying such an inspirational message to us, for elaborating more about our theme, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and stressing how yoga is really a way of life. At this time, I request that our esteemed dignitaries please leave the stage and join us below for the yoga lesson, because we would like to start that soon. You may
Prime Minister Modi addressed an audience of 2,000 getting ready to perform yoga on the lawns of the UN headquarters in New York. Present, of course, there are the Mayor of New York. You also heard from the Deputy Secretary General, the UN Secretary General, and other dignitaries, including the Indian Permanent Representative, who we, of course, see often when she's representing India's case at the UN rather effectively. Let me quickly open up this conversation while we're waiting for actually the yoga asanas to commence, in which the Prime Minister and the dignitaries on stage will be participating. It's a, well, absolutely fascinating experience. Joining us on the broadcast, Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee is with us. Ridhima Arora is with us as well. Diksha Chhabra and Ashina Savarkar are joining us, all bringing in various perspectives of yoga expertise and health expertise. Let me start off with Ambassador Mukherjee. Ambassador Mukherjee, this is a pretty good coup. I mean, it's well attended, and City of New York is playing host, as is the UN. They managed to get in Guterres to praise the event. The Deputy Secretary General is there. New York Mayor is there. Pretty well done.
It's an amazing event, Rishabh. I did 3 years in the permanent mission in New York, where which is our first woman permanent rep, 86 to 89. I can tell you what we are hearing and seeing is unprecedented. Never ever has such an event taken place with Prime Minister of a country like India actually joining in the yoga activities and demonstrating India's unique cultural and civilizational connect, her soft power, which includes the diaspora, and also showing a way forward to a troubled world order, which unfortunately the UN is unable to anymore direct because of the divisions within the Security Council, showing a way forward towards international peace and security, demonstrating in reality how Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam works, because what is yoga and International Yoga Day but Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in reality.
Okay, so, ma'am, just stay with me. I'm just going to make a announcement. Can my PCR crew keep a light nat up so that we can follow along while we're discussing this on what is taking place? Keep a light nat. Let's use our fancy audio mixers that we have more effectively, please. Somebody from my team, can they direct our PCR crew, just explain to them what's going on? Okay, so ma'am, so what we are watching, of course, on our screens is a group of yoga practitioners who are a group of American yoga practitioners. In the audience are not just Indian Americans, you have Latin Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans are all participating as we see and can tell from the visuals on your screen. Sorry I interrupted you, ma'am. Finish your thought.
They do many kinds of yoga in New York City, including one kind of yoga which is very popular, which is called power yoga. But the point here is that this yoga has become so popular globally ever since Prime Minister Modi in his first term brought it to the UN General Assembly, and it was my name, Ambassador Ashok Mukherjee was the president when it was adopted with an unprecedented.
All right, ma'am. Just stay with me. Let's just listen in for a minute or two, and then I'm coming right back.
Breathe in.
Sangachadvam samvadadvam samvo manamsi janatam deva bhagam yatha purve sanyanana upasate sanyanana upasate Sanyanana upasate.
Let's relax our hands in our lap. And when you feel ready, you can gently open your eyes. We'll start our yoga sadhana, or yoga practice, with some loosening exercises to increase the circulation in the body.
Okay,
so let's
you know, ladies and gentlemen, you believe it or not, when I was student in school, we used to do recitation of Om as a linguistic exercise to help in speech. And the science behind this is absolutely fascinating, because it's not the sound, it's the vibrations that doing Om resonates in your face cavity, in your facial tissue, and in your skull cavity. And now we've reached an age, of course, where we understand that even basic physics is about string theory and membrane theory and resonance, and every particle that is an atomic particle is actually just a membrane or a string reverberating. So the power of reverberation, which is what Om represents as you kick off yoga practice. I'm just going to address a couple of questions with Ambassador Mukherjee before we get the yoga practitioners into this. So Ambassador, to have an event which is hosted by the UN, which is a public event done at this scale, I have never heard of something like this before.
Inhale the head to the
It's unprecedented in the history of the United Nations since it was established. To have an event of scale, to focus on yoga, which has been brought to the world by India, which is India's
hands on the waist. We'll twist the neck from right to left.
Prime Minister of India practiced yoga along with others on the podium.
Exhale, turn the chin over the right shoulder. Look all the way over to the right. Feel the stretch in the left side of
the uniqueness of India's contribution to the world. That India brings soft power, which is so much required in a very troubled international scenario with all the conflicts which are raging, including the Ukraine-Russia conflict. India is showing a way forward, a different path, which is through yoga, through soft power, through meditation. It is actually showing great leadership skills. And what is ironical is that this message is being brought by a country whose Prime Minister is there, and we are still denied a permanent seat in the UN Security Council.
You know what I'm also loving, Ambassador Mukherjee, is that Narendra Modi just part of the crowd. There are people there in their sweatpants. People are there in their t-shirts, and he's just this is not some stage which has been put up. He just stuck in part of the crowd. It's pretty cool.
It's very cool, and I doubt if most world leaders could have either the self-confidence or the ability to carry it off seamlessly. And by the way, he's also excellent in yoga. I do yoga every day myself, but he is amazing. His yoga poses and postures are amazing. But our practitioners here will expound on that. But I think that this is going to have a huge impact also on India's image internationally. This entire event, it's just amazing. And don't forget, Rishabh, that our Prime Minister must be also jet lagged because he only flew in last night, and he's going.
He has a dinner in a few hours at the White House. But glad they've done this, because to the life of me I can't remember, and you say unprecedented, but I'm no way of verifying that, but anecdotally in 15-20 years I can't remember such an event taking place at the UN like this. Let me quickly get Ambassador. I know you've got to go. So you please. I believe you're taking a flight shortly. So you have a good evening, ma'am. Let me quickly rope in Ashana. Ashana, let me kick this off with just a perception about what you're seeing. We've of course had Yoga Day. We've done our events here in India early this morning. But from just what you've seen of what's happening in New York, pretty cool stuff going on.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Yes, now so we can see the visuals and footages there. So I'm really glad and happy to see all this, that not only Indian people, Indian citizens, but every citizen from different parts of world are participating in very actively. And I can see the happy faces. Everyone is enjoying doing yoga with our lovely Prime Minister. So this is indeed a great moment of proud for the nation. And as you can see the visuals, you can see a lot of Chinese people, the Pakistanis, the Indians, the South Africans, the Europeans, the state people. So everyone is actively participating, following
Okay,
all
so
the
we are told
instructions.
almost every country is represented. We don't know exactly
Yes.
which ones are there or not, but pretty much almost every country, and one can make a judgment call. Just stay with me. Let me get Ridhima into this conversation as well. Ridhima, what do you just make of the sights and sounds coming from New York right now?
I think, as somebody who runs an Ayurvedic brand, I think we are more than excited to see this. I think this is the India, and this is the geopolitical face of India. This is exactly what we wanted to see, and I think it's happening. And as an Indian, I think it's a very, very proud moment, not only for yoga and Ayurveda, but I think because these practices come from India, and it's been globally accepted, and what a level. I think there's nothing better than this to see. So very proud.
Okay. So I'm going to come and discuss yoga with you in just a second. Let me quickly get Diksha into this conversation. Now, Diksha, for people who were watching this telecast, there are two important statements the Prime Minister made at the very beginning. One, he said that we wanted a memorial for the UN peacekeeping troops, which has now been agreed to. And the second, he mentioned a superfood called millets. Now, we've been celebrating a year of the millets, bajra and other things, and there is a more technical names for it. But Diksha, we are in a culture right now where we are being told that you have kale and other kinds of trends, viral trends that go on. In terms of a holistic approach where yoga is a part of it, nutrition is a part of it, what does Indian tradition have to offer?
Well, yoga has put India on the map globally, and when it comes to health and fitness, our diets are also equally capable of bringing healthy lifestyle, clean eating at a top-notch level. It's just that, due to all the invasions in past, we forgot what we have as a heritage, whether it's food and nutrition and exercises, the practices that we used to follow since a very long time. And millets being a part of Indian traditional diet, it was a very important part of it. Somehow it was sidelined.
Okay, so Diksha, put this into context. I know I'm going off on a segue here, so please bear with me, but put this into a context, okay? Because right now we are being told, kale is cool, quinoa is cool, these are all superfoods, okay? And bajra, millets, all these are, ghati, desi stuff, okay, who cares about them? But actually they are the real superfoods.
India. Nothing is as cool as things which are locally produced in India, which are easily available in India. Indian diet is highly nutritious and highly effective to reach any fitness goals.
Okay, so we are also in a world which is looking at what is called paleo diets. I'm not talking about just vegan or vegetarian, but looking at more authentic diets that are less processed. There's an environmental impact to locally producing food, but millets are very hardy grains that can be grown everywhere in the world, and there's a whole variety of them. In terms of an acceptability, because we are of course told that the trend is established in Europe or in North America, but for India to be able to set a trend like we have on yoga, when it comes to health food, how do we take it forward?
So when it comes to millets, it is actually a superfood, and because of the variety, actually quinoa and all these different foreign names that we've heard in recent times are actually millets only. So because there are different 9 categories of millets, itself is a complete food. You have carbs, you have protein, you have fat and fiber. All major macronutrients are there. It is rich in minerals and vitamins. So one must, and a lot of people have already adapted to that lifestyle where millets have become the major source of grain in our everyday diet. So yes, I completely agree with it. The trend is rising up, and it has to rise from India rather than the West. So more and more people will adapt to this, and definitely can see great results when it comes to
I just can't get over these, and these are live visuals from New York. I can't get over this fact that you're Narendra Modi sitting in with a crowd of Americans doing yoga in New York. There are 2,000 people gathered there. It's early morning, of course, in New York, probably just past 8 in the morning there. I just can't get over it. Let me quickly get Ridhima back into this. Ridhima, let's face it, the sports we play, the cricket, the football, okay, we know where they came from, right? And the music that we listen to often, that sets the trend, modern day music, rap music, rock music, EDM, now you move on. I can't really imagine, I don't know, Joe Biden coming to India and being comfortable in a lawn full of people. For an Indian, forget Prime Minister, to go there and organize an event like this, pretty iconic.
Absolutely. I think, the only sad part in Indian history is that when the wave of commercialization and industrialization came in the midst of 90s, I think we just forgot our roots. And I think this has just begun. I mean, when I can see it as a forefront in this whole scenario, from my lens, if I look at it, I think it's just the beginning. Things are only going to grow from here. And, you talk about millets, ragi, jowar, bajra, or even if you talk about, if you talk about, all the grains or the traditional practices that have started coming in, I think it's just the beginning of accepting who we are, and, I must appreciate and applaud the next generation, the generation.
Guys, just look at Narendra Modi. He is doing, of course, yoga better than, most of the people there. Okay, he is sitting there, he's wearing, of course, the t-shirt, which is, of course, the organizational t-shirt there. He's sitting there with a gamcha. You can call it a scarf, but we all know what it is. It's a gamcha. Now, a lot of people in this country wear gamchas, okay? But nobody would have ascribed it to as a coolness factor. When I learned the Hoxton knot, I thought that was super cool. But you're seeing something, I can't explain it because you're observing it live with me, okay? That the PM has shown up and he's, let's say, I'm going to take my gamcha with me, in case I need to wipe my sweat or something, and I'm going to carry it with me as a style statement. I mean, who would have thought? Let me get Ashana back into this. Ashana, yoga is not a new deal, right? It's been sort of had some sort of global footprint since the days of the Beatles, 50s, 60s. The techniques, of course, are thousands of years old. We don't really know how long. Some say 3,000, some say 4,000, some say 4,500. You don't need any equipment for yoga. The yoga mat is also a convenience. You don't really need it to perform any of the asanas. It's just you with your own body performing an exercise. And there is a universality to it. But are we seeing the change happening? Are we seeing that this has become a globally popular trend, or is it still just seen as an Indian cliched thing?
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, that yoga is not only on mat, but yes, yoga is beyond the mat. So it is basically the union of the physical body, the mental state, and also I would like to add the spiritual mindset. So it connects, that is a union. So what if I say this is not a new thing, like this has been mentioned into the ancient scriptures, the Vedas, the manuscripts that have been mentioned that yoga was the origin of everything. Everyone knows that Adi Yogi. So that was the concept from where yoga originated. Like Adi was first and Yogi, the first yogi, which is generally termed to Lord Mahadev. So from there it has been said to be originated. So this is very old thing and has been practiced. But I think a few of the younger generation definitely forgot what yoga is, and they are more inclined towards the gym segment where they ultimately lock their body, whereas yoga helps you release the muscles, the flexibility of the body. It helps a lot to connect your physical body, the mental mindset, and definitely with the spiritual thing as well. So when all the three things are balanced, so an individual can definitely lead to a very happy, healthy and positive life as well.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, and just remember, PM Narendra Modi is himself 72 years old, and you can see the people next to him who have obviously practiced this because they know what's going to be happening, struggling. And here you have a man from Gujarat in his white t-shirt and kamcha, and he's doing yoga with the best of them. It boggles the mind and the imagination. Absolutely fascinating. Let me get Ridhima back in quickly before I come back to Diksha. Okay, so Ridhima, when we look at a representation of who we are, where we are, what we do, and we have this Ghar ki Murgi Dal Barabar problem, okay, on all aspects of it. A lot of people who were sitting with me who were from all parts of the world in the previous telecast were telling us that a lot of the Indians who come to those countries are not necessarily yoga practitioners, and they come to foreign lands and become yoga practitioners. So, what's the coolness factor that's missing here? Because there's a new generation of people, 700 million of us are under the age of 35. How are we connecting with the young generation?
As we, while we say that, there is a segment or there's a larger segment of people in India who do not accept yoga, for that matter, a lot of cultural aspects of India too well, it would not be right to say that there is a significant shift now. As a brand, I can tell you that now there is a significant shift in how people are looking at brands, products. People are shifting to more organic stuff. People are shifting to more Ayurvedic things. People are shifting to more natural things. So I think the beginning is at the right place. But having said that, yes, there's a huge perceptual change that is needed, because I feel people still hesitate when they have to talk about yoga or Ayurveda or Desi Nuska or Nani Dadi ke Nuske in their friend circle or groups, because that's not something that is called cool. It has a lot of myth attached to it. While it is moving out, I think better brands have to come in to kind of,
the brands are coming up. There are new brands that are selling your turmeric paste and whatnot.
Absolutely. I think there's so many D2C segment brands that have come up, which are primarily doing these, these products. And I think it's only going to grow. I think next 5 years,
I can't get over the fact. I mean, this is New York. The yoga was happening in Times Square before this. It's been 9 years of yoga day. Today's the 9th, right? And now it's done. So there will be one yoga day every year going forward. And yeah, I think there's a poignancy to this, that you have people from pretty much every country in the face of the planet. There's a poignancy to the messaging that has been put out about one world, one family. There's a poignancy of culture and tradition. and it's missing cultural imperialism, which is something that we understand because hey, look, I'm dressed as a person who has had to deal with cultural imperialism. So let me get Diksha back in. So Diksha, in the holistic perspective now, and I'm looking at very practical interests in brand India, the brand India of the snake charmers and the half naked fakirs. Okay, maybe these guys actually knew a thing or two. So is there a global hunger now to understand these things and in food, in health, in practice, that is now pretty palpable?
Definitely, Rishabh, not just globally, even Indians, the upcoming generation is also hungry to know what exactly our culture, our heritage stands for, what we used to eat, how we used to live, and how we became one of the biggest and the greatest civilization in the past. I'm so excited to see, as an Indian, I'm so proud to see our Prime Minister representing India, representing yoga at the age of 72 here at New York, and performing the similar kind of poses with citizens of all over the.
Okay, Diksha, what have we discovered, or what are we rediscovering? Is somebody opening up, the Nuska book and saying, actually, I remember doing a telecast on this a long time ago. So there is a German company, okay, and when I grew up, and I'm old enough to have experienced this, maybe some of my guests are a bit younger or old enough, when we used to go to these fetes and melas and you would have your snacks, you would have them in pattal ki plates, leaf plates. Yeah. And that got replaced by plastic, no? And then there's a German company who has now developed a machine that makes leaf plates, has patented the leaf plates, and they are selling for, you won't believe it, 8 euros for 10 leaf plates. Imagine that. Just imagine that. That's like 600-700 bucks. So 50-60 rupees a plate. Pattal ki plate is being sold at 60 rupees a plate. Because we forgot about it and we thought, plastic is better. And then somebody else said, oh, hang on. These Indians had it figured out all along. It's biodegradable, it's sanitary. Think about all those people in South India who eat on banana leaves, okay? And you think, oh, where's my fork and knife? They're doing the biodegradable sanitary activity. So Diksha, is there a rediscovery happening?
The rediscovery is happening, and that consciousness, because we were told when we were in school that how penicillin was discovered, what is pasteurization, but we were never taught how the Indian practices made sense. We were just told to follow it, but not given a scientific backing. But now that people are getting more and more aware, they're understanding the power of our these basic practices, and that globally it has been taken from different brands and companies, and they're patenting it. So the rediscovery is happening, but it is still not at the pace how it should be. We still have that stigma of disclosing our dadi maa ke nuske and practicing it also, but then at the same time we are kind of understanding that, and I think after of it also picked up pace-wise, because when nothing was working, these things were actually working. And as we are moving towards the destructive phase of the world, we can see why it was important, whatever our Vedas and Puranas were mentioning about the healthy lifestyle, about different various food practices, health practices, which actually made sense. So unfortunately, the educational system and the things were not told to us.
Yeah, no, not only they made sense. So you got yoga, okay? You got Indian design, you got Indian fashion, and of course you got Indian food. It's not only tasty, can be ridiculously healthy, and people can choose to eat whatever they want. I am certainly one of them, but the maximum number of vegetarians in the world is right here in India. The conversation as you had this live telecast happening, this event is about to wind up, and there are now more formal events in terms of meetings and dinners are going to take place. Then of course it ends with the diaspora event, which is coming up on the 23rd. Is Ridhima still with us? Ridhima, can you hear us?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So Ridhima, let me ask you on on this larger perspective, okay? So, as a community of Indians, it's all of us, there's about 40-50 million Indian diaspora and there's 1.4 billion of us now. What do we have to offer the world? You know, because I'm of the generation when I saw the first McDonald's open, big deal, first Domino's pizza I stood in line to get, okay. Very recently the Taco Bell opened, my God, 1 hour waiting because we couldn't get enough of it. And you can make a judgment call whether that's great food or not. But we are of that generation. So what have we got to offer to the world now?
I think times have changed. Whatever commercialization and industrialization had to do, it has already happened. Be it extensive imports that have happened, or be it so many lifestyle diseases that we have. But I think there is a segment of Indian ecosystem which has realized that it has equal amount of side effects. And considering that a few pockets have been activated in India, which actually believe in the Indian heritage and the Indian culture. And I think these are the pockets who are going to be the brand wagon for the brand India that is going to be a global brand in the next 5 years. I think what we're seeing today is just the tip of the iceberg. From here, in the next 5 years, I think the dynamics of how we look at Indian culture, Indian food, Indian ecosystem is drastically going to change.
Yeah, I think it's already changing, and it's changing at a pace that we don't recognize or appreciate. But hopefully, it's going to change even faster. So.
And I think sometimes I feel that it's the international validation which is going to bring the culture more closer to us now as Indians. Okay,
so ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe this. So heck, it's not some private information. So I was sitting with one of India's one of the most popular Indian fast food restaurants. I happened to meet the owner a couple of weeks ago, and I was suggesting to him that if there can be 1,000 McDonald's here in India, why can't there be 1,000 Haldirams or Bikanerwalas all over the world? I mean, think of it. It's fast food. It's easier. It's healthier. It's cleaner than a lot of options. So what you're watching, of course, are the various exercises of a routine which is about to wind up, which is being led from the stage, and the Prime Minister, along with the other dignitaries who are on the stage, are with him, performing these yoga asanas. They've done the breathing exercises, they've done the Om, the pranayam part of it, and they've done the asanas now, as you can clearly see on your screens. Fascinating. Diverse group of individuals who have gathered now literally in their thousands. I'm told the audience size is more than 2,000. Absolutely fascinating. Okay, let me just take a few last thoughts before we wind up this conversation, and then of course we carry on because the PM's trip in the US of course carries on as well. Diksha, what is the brand factor that we are not getting right? I mean, the recipe literally is in place, right? Now it's about young entrepreneurs like you, Ridhima, and others, not only looking at India as a market, but looking at the globe as a market. We've seen all the trends and all the chains come to India. That reversal of Indian trends and chains going abroad is just about starting.
See, it is starting. Fortunately or unfortunately, we are the biggest market in the globe, and we have to just pitch in the local market within our country first, and then eventually move out. So right now, I think the brands are more focusing on the Indian peripheral, and eventually within 5 years, this is going to sprout exponentially globally. Because if we tap on the Indian market, I think we kind of capture the biggest population of the world. So I think that's why the brands are focusing more on the Indian premises. But then it's going to happen. It's going to happen because people are becoming more aware, and they are understanding why it is important.
Yeah, for sure. Grow big at home, but then go for broke abroad.
Exactly.
So so Indian food is already popular abroad, right? But the Indian representation of what people think is Indian food abroad is not really Indian food. You and I know that. A lot of Indian chefs are very popular in New York, for example. We've interviewed somebody. I think Diksha, you finish your point. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to continue. That as an Indian food, we are just recognized as butter chicken and tandoori chicken, but then Indian food is so vast and so healthy. I mean, let's talk about Satvik Bhojan. There are restaurants that are serving Satvik Bhojan. There are brands that are creating ingredients which are healthy actually.
You know, you won't believe it. I was at Sri Sri's ashram in Bangalore just before COVID, right, for an event there. And the expectation of Satvik Bhojan is that, they don't put all these ingredients. So, it's going to be, how tasty can it be? It's going to be, healthy, but it's going to be very plain food. And what a feast we had of this, and yummy food. There's a couple of restaurants in Delhi that offer this Satvik, and I've started getting food from there because the food is very tasty. It's really good. And if it's healthier, then that's great. Okay, quick last thought from Ridhima. Ridhima, so tell us about Namaya Foods.
So Namaya as a brand is an Ayurvedic brand. It's India's first Ayurvedic brand in the preventive healthcare segment. We do these amazing concoctions and blends of Ayurvedic herbs, which we as a family lineage know for about more than 80 years. It was started by my grandfather. I'm third generation doing it. And the idea is to take these herbs and do these formulations, which can help you with basic lifestyle problems like BP, cholesterol, diabetes, thyroid, PCOS, and take this understanding and learning that we have globally and make Ayurveda the next big thing after yoga.
I would genuinely recommend, and this is, I'm going to end take a quick break after this. A lot of you guys who are still being young entrepreneurs or taking, family legacies, great name by the way, Namaya, you back this up now with the scientific studies, commission this, spend the money, get the scientific studies, back it up here. Because the credibility value goes up. So even with yoga, we say that you are fitter and healthier and helps you mentally focus. But the surveys and studies that need to be done, I mean, we should go for broke. I'm going to thank you guys. This event is just wrapping up in New York.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.